Hey, what's up guys? I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me. Hisense made a dramatic but surprising entrance at CES with the 116 UX RGB Mini LED and 136-inch MicroLED. What was missing was their traditional, very popular and affordable ULED Mini-LED lineup. I had a chance to see that entire lineup together last night in New York City. And what an amazing lineup it is. Seeing the U6, U7, U8, and now the highest end U9 combined with the 116 UX and the MicroLED shows you that Hisense may have the most formidable TV lineup in 2025. Without further ado, let's check out Hisense's entire 2025 TV lineup. Thank you so much for watching. All right, guys, let's do it with the entry-level ULED Mini LED from Hisense. You're looking at the 100-inch Hisense U6QF. Now, the U6QF is different than the rest of the lineup as it now has Fire TV, where the rest of the lineup has Google TV. It's very hard to call the U6QF entry level, as again, it is a mini LED, but it does have a 144 Hertz native panel. Ridiculous gaming options. It does range in sizes from 55 inches all the way to 100 inches, which is the model you're looking at right now. And also to have 1,000 nits at this level of TV is incredible. The U6 series has come such a long way. Typically, we don't review them. I'm hoping to review one this year. You're also going to see a matte screen, I believe only on the 100-inch version, which did a great job blocking the light into this extremely bright room surrounded by TVs. You're also looking at a 2.1 built-in subwoofer. Again, amazing at this level, having the picture quality and sound quality. The off viewing angle was excellent, and that 1,000 nits mixed with the amazing local dimming really makes the image pop and look more 3D. Very impressed with the U6QF, and I think the Fire TV aspect of it is very convenient and easy to use for most people getting into Hisense's higher end ULED Mini LED lineup. The design, look, and feel also feels very premium and does sit well alongside the higher end TVs within this room. For me, the U6QF is going to be that excellent way to get into Hisense's lineup, but more importantly, give you the opportunity to buy a massive TV at an affordable price. Now moving over to the 100-inch Hisense U7QG. For me, the U7 aspect of Hisense's TV lineup is the most popular. This is where affordability does meet high end. We now jump up to 165 Hertz and 3,000 nits. Think about that, for this level of TV to be hitting 3,000 nits. Now, the U7N from last year was excellent and very bright. This is gonna top that with even better processing and local dimming. Now, with the 3,000 nits and that local dimming, you're going to need the better processor that comes on the U7Q and U8Q, which is the High-View AI Engine Pro. You have a glossier panel here even at 100 inches. Build quality is a step up from the U6, but then does fit in very well, again, with the rest of the TVs in the room. Now, with 165 Hertz, you also have all the gaming features you would ever need. You also get the Game Booster 288 Hertz, which may be at 1080p. I'm not sure of all the details there. You also have an upgraded audio system of a 60-watt 2.1.2 multi-channel sound system. The sound quality has always been good on this level of TV from Hisense. And again, everything is jumping up a notch. What I love about what Hisense does year after year, as the jumps are not incremental, they are massive year after year. And what you see at the highest end always trickles down as what you see on the U6QF. So you start seeing performance from the flagship from last year down to the next model below it. So you always get ridiculous picture quality and specs at an affordable price. Again, we're here from 55 inches all the way to 100 inches. As I mentioned before, the U7N is excellent. And when I get the U7QG in for review, I'll compare it to last year's U7N, which I still have, which I still highly recommend. It really is that convergence of entry to mid to high end all coming together. So high end image quality at an affordable price. And like the U6, all these sizes from 55 to 100, meaning I'd rather see you go with the U7 versus a U8 at a much larger size. That's what's great about the scalability of their TV selection year after year. Now moving into the Hisense U8QG. This has always been the flagship for Hisense before the 9 and UX showed up, and the U8 still feels like the flagship for them again year after year. Having flagships and crazy TVs above them never really diminishes the 8 or the U8 as we call it. The U8N last year was phenomenal. What you end up getting was an even brighter image than the U7N, but you had the refinement. The local dimming was better, the processing was better. Even though you have the same processor here, it was the implementation of that processor that felt more elegant. What they've also changed over the years is the delta between their steps in the lineup. Instead of them being incrementally better from each other, there are larger leaps. You're going from 3,000 nits on the U7Q over to now 5,000 nits. That's going to be one of the brightest TVs in the world this year. Local dimming, again, phenomenal. Off viewing angle, excellent with a glossy screen. You do have a max size of 100 inches. I believe the entry point here is going to be 65 inches. The audio also gets a bump with an 82-watt Dolby Atmos 4.1.2 multi-channel sound system. You take 5,000 nits, the local dimming, off viewing angle, the sound system, 165 hertz gaming, and all the formats that you're going to see on the U8, U7, and that top end lined up. Dolby Vision, HDR10+, IMAX enhanced. Again, a ton of features and crazy specs. And this price point is still very affordable considering everything that you get from the U8QG. Now moving on to the monster that is in this room, you have the U9QG. Now the U9 is interesting as it was very scarce last year, very much like the UX the year before. You're going to see this more commonly now as the true flagship in the Uled Mini-LED lineup from Hisense. This is an absolute monster. Now, it leads me to believe that the U9QG will be more common than last year's very obscure U9N, is that you do have a 65-inch size this year, where last year it was only 75 and 85, and as I mentioned, obscure. I'm hoping to get a review sample of the U9QG as well, as it is a beast. As I mentioned, the U8QG being one of the brightest TVs in the world, I should not even have mentioned that, as we're looking at 6,500 nits. Local dimming, off the charts, again, glossy screen, excellent viewing angle. This display really pops and shines even in this room. I love that they have these all in the same room, not diminishing each other, but this is clearly the crown jewel of the ULED Mini-LED lineup for Hisense. With all those specs, we still have 165 Hz gaming, all of the features including the 288 Hz boost. We also have an upgraded sound system. The 65-inch will still have the 4.1.2, but the 75 inches will have a 5.1.2 multi-channel sound system. And even at the U9, it is still more affordable than these specs on other TVs from other manufacturers. but having an elite aspect of their lineup is very impressive. For me, the U8 will still be the flagship for many of us. That U9 isn't going to be obscure, but it'll be for those of you that want that next level. The very best they have to offer. Now for Hisense, this is titled their Path to Ultra Premium, and why that is different than the 8 and the 7 is that it shares the same processor as the 116 UX RGB Mini LED, which is titled the Highview AI Engine X. Again, this is their titled Ultra Path to Premium. I'm hoping to have a review sample at 65 inches. Either way, maybe I'll review it at Value Electronics, which should have the largest version of this. It is an absolute monster, and it's great to see them have a more common part of their lineup visible for everyone to see. Now moving into the true innovation for Hisense, the 116 UX. Now I know you guys saw this at CES from me and many others. I wanted to also feature it here because I love that not only do they bring the mini LED ULED lineup 6, 7, 8, and 9, they also went far beyond that and brought the UX 116 and the 136-inch micro LED just to tie it all together to show you their true 2025 entire lineup. Seeing them all together was absolutely amazing. And it also highlighted where they start and where they finish in regards to TVs, starting with the 6, 7, 8, 9, just seeing those stages where each one is amazing, but each jump is vast, then moving over to their true innovation. Now, what's amazing about the RGB Mini LED 116 UX is this TV will be available. They had said between 6 to 8 weeks, you'll be able to see these, hopefully in store. Now, hopefully I'll be able to cover it as well. This display is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, what I love about them doing this separate event is the ULED mini LEDs have their opportunity to shine. Then you also see the displays from CES that are real and will be available. Where last year you had the UX and the 9 and they were still obscure. Even though the UX 110 was featured, you never really had a chance to see it again. I was promised that we would see these most likely in a Best Buy locations or bid box retailers. Maybe even our good friends at Value Electronics will have this one. Either way, I'll bring you as much coverage as possible. But I love, again, they're tying it all together and showing you that none of these are going to be obscure. Now, perhaps the micro LED will be one that we won't see in person or be able to game on or hang out with. But I love the commitment to having all these together, even in this event, which was packed with media and everyone there to see it, but they easily could have just gotten a smaller venue, showed the ULED mini LED lineup, and called it a day. The real commitment to bringing these monsters here shows me they are not playing around. What I also love is having the monsters at CES did not diminish their 2025 lineup at all. And having them all together shows you they have that confidence and they're ready to rock this year. And as I mentioned earlier about the trickle down from their highest end, you're seeing this have the same processor as the U9. That is not by accident, what leads me to believe that you will see an RGB mini LED of some kind trickle down to the rest of the lineup. That would be amazing. The innovation, imagine that moving down to the 9 or the 8. Now, I have no clarification on that, but that would be absolutely amazing to have RGB mini LEDs at smaller sizes at an affordable price in only a few years. Now moving into the crazy Hisense U36MX Micro LED. Again, I commend Hisense for bringing along the Micro LED. I wish I was there to watch them unbox and assemble this monster. We also saw a 160-inch at CES. Now, seeing this in person in a smaller venue was more eye-opening. and the thing is absolutely gorgeous, amazing to be around. Now, Hisense has had micro LEDs the last few years that I've been at CES, but it's always been off to the side and been clearly a prototype. These are definitely going to be for sale. Now, that'll be on the custom install side of things, and I imagine they won't be affordable. They would be much more affordable than micro LEDs we've seen from other manufacturers throughout the years. Either way, it shows progress. I would love to be around to see one of these at a custom install in a theater, getting away from projectors into micro LED. It would be amazing to see that implementation. Now, in closing, what do you guys think of Hisense 2025 TV lineup? We'll show you the stars of the show being the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9. The 6, the 7, and the 8 are at 100 inches within this room, the 9 being 85 inches. Please let me know your thoughts on everything you saw here from Hisense. What do you think? In my videos, I try to make the TVs the star to show you as much footage as possible. These TVs will be available for purchase very soon, and hopefully we will have review samples of most of what you've seen this evening to be able to test, do reviews on, and compare to anything else that comes out this year. But please let me know what you think in the comments on Hisense, how far they have come, and also keep in mind that you do have last year's displays also available for purchase. For me, I'm very impressed with, again, their jumps from year to year. Their presentation, though I was bummed to not have these available for CES, I was happy they had a separate event to let them truly shine. Even though this was a busy media event, it was much smaller than something like CES, much less chaos, really giving these gorgeous TVs the ability to breathe. I'm Brian, this is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me. Please consider liking and subscribing. Love you guys. Take care.
It's better to burn out than to fade away. There can be only one.